Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Foliage. In today's video we are going to be talking about this absolutely beautiful plant called as the Crepe Ginger. I'll put up the scientific name on the screen and the family name as well. So this is an absolutely beautiful plant. I can see the state of my plant is not in a very good condition because I'd recently got this, and while the process of acclimating this one, it had a good amount of leaves like this in a spiral form, but they all fell off. Again, the same process of acclimating and getting adjusted in the new environment. If you remember, I had made the video of taking the plant out of the suitcase because I had bought it in flight. I had picked up this plant from the wild from my hometown, and I had got this plant because I absolutely loved how the plant was growing. This is how the plant grows. You can see the spiral form. So this is going to be completely covered with leaves. Same thing over here. This is just about to start to spiral, you can see, but it's already putting out these beautiful flowers. So I think it's been almost a month and a half that I have come back, and this is the plant that I had got, and it already started to flower as well. Looks absolutely beautiful. This is the new one that's coming up, so I think this one will be much better because it's already adjusted in my environment and started to grow in my environment, so I don't think this is going to have a problem. I was thinking of cutting this off, but just to make this video I left it so that I can show you how the structure tends to look like. So it will grow like this and it will start to spiral, and the entire stem is going to have leaves. Don't go according to this one, it's completely dry, and the entire part is going to have the leaves. So we will get to know once this starts to grow. And as you can see, this is how the flowering starts. Absolutely beautiful. Now guys, this plant is known to be a herb. It is also used in the Ayurveda, but again, I am not the right person to advise you about the ingesting of the plant. I am not very sure. I'm not the right person because I haven't studied medicine, so I would never advise you to drink the juice or eat the leaves of this plant because I'm not very sure. But yes, there are articles that this plant is used in Ayurvedic medicines. It is a kind of a herb. It is called as Crepe Ginger, but it does not get a ginger, but it gets rhizomes just like our halicornus. There was a rhizome over here, so this is from the rhizome. There is a new plant grown. So basically it's a rhizomatic plant. If you want to propagate this plant, you will have to take out the plant and separate it via root division, and then you will get the rhizomes. I'll put up the image of what a rhizome is and how the rhizome tends to look beneath the soil. This is a rhizomatic plant. Now let's talk a little bit in detail about the care tips, starting off with light. Now guys, offer a good amount of indirect bright light. You can either offer dapple sunlight, indirect bright light, or you can keep it under the green shade cloth. I haven't exposed it to direct sunlight because even where it was growing under large trees wherein it was getting dappled sunlight. So I'm providing the same kind of environment. I haven't exposed it to direct sunlight because the leaves also tend to look like they won't be able to handle the direct sunlight. So I've kept it in indirect bright light, and it even started to flower and bloom as well. So I think that location is working out really well. Apart from that, as I said, from where I picked up this plant, it was growing under the canopy of large trees, so I kind of replicated the same environment, and it looks like it is loving that because you can see this was the new growth and this is the flowering that it's doing, which indicates that the plant is quite happy. Now ever since I've got this plant, I haven't added any fertilizers yet. I will do it soon because now it's starting to flower and it's already settled in this pot. Because as I said, whenever I buy a new plant or whenever I get a new plant, I don't add fertilizers. At that time, I wait for at least a month, and now when I see that the plant is completely acclimated and adjusted, it indicates now that I can add some fertilizers. Now the soil mix that I've used over here is a mix of coco peat, garden soil, sand. I haven't used perlite because it was a wild plant that was growing, so I didn't want to waste my perlite. So I think this mix of garden soil, sand and coco peat is working out really well. They prefer a slight amount of moisture but not soggy wet soil. If you're going to keep the soil soggy wet, then the rhizome and the roots will get rotted. Ensure you're using a pot with a drain hole. This is a 7-inch pot, and I think it is very comfortable in this pot. And whenever I see around 1 to 2 inches of the upper layer of soil is dry, I go ahead and do a complete watering until the water starts passing through the drain hole. Last night it rained, so a little bit of water fell into it. That's why you can see the soil is wet. So I'm not going to be watering it anytime soon. I will wait for the upper layer of soil around 1 to 2 inches for it to completely get dried. Talking about pest issues, yes, I did have some spider mites on this plant. I have just cleaned it up, but I think there are few, one or two. I'll clean it off again. I have seen that it was coming up on the new growth, so I've cleaned it up. I will do another. I will just spray some water and get rid of it, and then I will apply some cinnamon powder on the upper layer of soil. I'll sprinkle some cinnamon powder here as well, and that is going to take care of it. I haven't sprayed any kind of rubbing alcohol or neem oil. I have never used neem oil. This tends to work out really well. Cinnamon powder has been working out really well for me. I cannot use hand sanitizer right now because it might happen to burn the plant, so I'm not using hand sanitizer. I just sprayed some water with that misting bottle that I have, and it cleaned it off. A little bit is still left, which I will clean it off in some time after this video. So other than that, this is a very easy plant. You might most probably find this plant in your local nursery, or even if you are going on a trek, you might find it in wild as well, as I picked it up from the wild. So it is a very easy to grow plant. There are more varieties in this. There is a variegated one. I do have the variegated one, but it's not doing quite well. As in when it will start to grow, I will definitely make a video on it. This also belongs to the same family of the insulin plant. So that's why it has a very similar growth. Even the insulin plant also tends to grow like a spiral form, so it has the same features because it also belongs to the same family. Now, talking about propagation, as I said in the early part of the video, the best way to propagate is via division of the rhizomes. So that is one of the best method to propagate this. It's very easy. When I found this plant, I thought probably it might be a little difficult to grow, but ever since I got it, I have just been watering whenever the soil is dry, and it has been so easy. When it started to flower, that is when I realized that it is kind of getting adjusted to my environment, which is a very good sign. So I was quite happy. And then this new growth happened, so I was quite rest assured that this plant is going to do quite well. Now, talking about toxic, this plant is not toxic. As I said, it is used as a herb, but again, I am not the right person. I haven't studied medicine, so please, I would advise, if you do not have much knowledge about the plant, please don't eat. A lot of people might say you can drink the juice of this plant, or you can ingest the leaves. The leaves are a little bit bitter, but again, I am not very sure, so please don't try unless and until you have full knowledge about the plant. Only then, because this plant is used in Ayurvedic medicines, but I'm not sure which part of the plant, whether it's the rhizomes or whether it's the leaves. Even if it is, I don't think I would consume any part of this plant, which I'm not very sure about. I would rather grow this plant as a show plant than to ingest any part of it. Even for that matter, insulin plant as well. Remember, as I said, unless you don't have a proper knowledge, please don't ingest random stuff from the garden. It may be that you might be allergic to some component in this plant, which could trigger some other health issues. So please be very careful. Just because somebody has told you to ingest the plant, or just because you read it on Google that this plant is a medicinal plant, doesn't mean that it is going to agree with your body. You have to be extremely careful. So that's all about it, guys. It's a pretty easy to grow plant. If you are looking out for a plant that kind of looks very unique, because as I said, it tends to grow in a spiral form. You can see this. This is like the exoskeleton of this plant. So it kind of grows like this, and it will keep spiraling up, and it looks absolutely beautiful. A lot of people tend to use this plant in landscaping as well, because this plant does grow really tall. It kind of gives a very beautiful, unique look to your garden. Of course, I have to wait for some more time because the plant is still not completely flourished in this spot, but eventually it will. Now there is one growth from the rhizome. Probably there will be few more growing, and once it grows completely bushy, I will definitely share the entire video with you. But as of now, also the plant is doing quite well. This is all the damage while getting it from that forest area and then putting it into the bag. Again, this plant was uprooted 3 or 4 days before traveling. which I should have avoided. I should have done it on the same day of traveling, but I was quite busy, so I had picked it up quite early. Probably because of that it dropped a lot of leaves, but nevertheless, as I said, it's putting out a lot of new growth, so I am quite excited. As and when the variegated one will start to grow better, I will definitely make a video on that one as well. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.